Back in 2008, a video featuring a father named James playing with his daughter June. During their playtime, the mother Grace joined them. However, things took a sudden turn when James was seen bleeding from his nose. After James passed away, it was discovered that he had a brain tumor. Many years had gone by, and Grace and June had relocated to Los Angeles. June, now an 18-year-old teenager, had a strong affinity for using intelligent applications on her smartphone. Grace informed June that she would be going on vacation with her new boyfriend, Kevin, for a week and that Heather, her friend, would be taking care of June while she was alone at home. June believed that she had reached an age where she could live independently, but she faced opposition in the form of an argument with someone. Meanwhile, Kevin and Grace appeared to be preparing for a trip to Colombia, despite the strained relationship between Kevin and June. June appeared indifferent towards Kevin, and Grace mentioned that Kevin had made all the necessary arrangements for their vacation. They had arranged to come back in a week and were counting on June to greet them at the airport upon their return from the trip. Subsequently, the taxi that would transport them to the airport arrived, and they departed. Upon her mother's departure, June promptly reached out to her friends to come over and have some fun at her place since she was alone. However, Heather arrived with dinner for June, causing her to delay her plans and spend some time with Heather before heading out to meet her friends. Eventually, June went to parties with her friends, and she was grateful to have received a substantial amount of money from her mother. Every day, June spent time with her friends, and her mother kept sending her pictures from their vacation in Colombia using Kevin's phone. On Father's Day, June felt extremely melancholic and longed for her father's presence. To lift her spirits, she organized a party at her house and got drunk all night with her friends. The following day, June's cell phone alarm went off, signaling that it was the day of her mother's return from vacation. June had to go to the airport to pick up her mother, but she hadn't cleaned the house after the party she had the previous night. Consequently, she opted to engage an online cleaning service to tidy up the house before leaving for the airport. June arrived at the airport and waited for her mother, but even after everyone had left, she couldn't locate her. This made her worried, and she tried to contact her mother, but there was no response. June then left the airport and attempted to find the telephone number of the hotel where her mother had stayed in Colombia. However, the hotel staff only spoke Spanish, causing a communication barrier. Despite not being able to speak Spanish, June was resourceful and turned to Google Translate to interpret each word to facilitate communication with the hotel staff. Additionally, she utilized the internet to search for the hotel's location on maps. Upon finding the hotel, she noticed that there was CCTV footage available and promptly requested access to it. However, the hotel staff informed her that Grace and Kevin had already left the premises. In addition, the hotel staff informed June that if she wanted to view the footage, she needed to visit the hotel before they deleted it in 48 hours. Feeling perplexed, June contacted Heather and shared the entire situation with her. It turned out that Heather had already reported the incident to the embassy, which would handle the matter. Later, June received a call from FBI agent Elijah Park, who had been sent by the United States Embassy. Agent Park advised June to check her mother's email for any potential clues to her whereabouts. June attempted to access it using her name as the password, but it did not work despite trying several times. She also informed Agent Park that the CCTV footage from the hotel would be deleted in 6 hours, and it could be a crucial piece of evidence in locating her mother. Dissatisfied with the pace of progress made by the FBI, June decided to hire a cleaning service from Colombia to retrieve the CCTV footage from the hotel. She came across a man named Javier who felt a connection to June, as she reminded him of his son whom he had not seen for 3 years. This motivated him to offer his assistance to June. June asked Javier to help her immediately and retrieve the CCTV footage from the hotel. In the meantime, at June's house, her friend Vina arrived and assisted her in gathering information about Kevin. They discovered that he was the CEO of a company and attempted to access his email account. Eventually, they succeeded and checked his location, but found that he had turned off his location on the day before their return to the US. Meanwhile, Javier contacted June once again. Javier informed June that the CCTV footage was no longer available, but he did find out that 2 American tourists had left the hotel to visit a hardware store. This gave June an idea to track down Kevin's credit card activity to determine their location. She discovered that Kevin had visited 8 locations before they went missing. June was alarmed by the information she found and contacted Agent Park right away. He instructed her to provide all the information she had gathered so that they could investigate further. Agent Park also advised June to file a report about Kevin's fraudulent activities, which would aid in locating her mother. Despite feeling betrayed and angry towards Kevin, June also felt hopeful that they were closer to finding her mother. She and Vina worked together to collect all the evidence and send it to Agent Park as he had requested. June discovered some disturbing information about Kevin. Firstly, she found out that he had previously served time in prison for an unknown crime. Additionally, she stumbled upon an online account belonging to a woman who had recently been in communication with Kevin. The account was under the username @bunnycake310, and the woman was identified as a bartender and amateur actress. June finally managed to obtain Jim W.'s phone number, a friend of Kevin's, after an extensive search. She reached out to Jim and informed him about Kevin's recent visit, to which Jim confirmed that they were both ex-convicts and had been friends for a long time since they met at church. However, Jim did not provide any helpful clues to June's investigation. Javier contacted June again and informed her that an American tourist resembling Kevin and Grace was spotted purchasing a padlock at a hardware store. This led June to wonder why her mother would need a padlock. While checking her mother's email, June discovered that Grace had been using a dating app to find a date. She then went through the entire chat history between her mother and Kevin to gather more information. They had matched on the dating app and started seeing each other. June found an intriguing message in their chat history where Grace revealed a secret from her past that she had been keeping from June. She promised to tell Kevin about it when they met. June also noticed a note in her mother's dating profile that said "Take me somewhere romantic." Using the information she had gathered, June came up with the idea to search for a romantic tourist destination near the hardware store where Kevin and Grace had purchased a padlock. After some searching, she discovered a crowded bridge where couples were putting padlocks with their initials on them. It seemed to fit the description given in her mother's dating profile of wanting to be taken somewhere romantic. Javier quickly went to the location and found the padlock with Kevin and Grace's initials. June then used the city's live surveillance footage to investigate the area. She checked the footage from previous days and found a video of her mother and Kevin on the bridge. In the video, Kevin knelt down and proposed to Grace. Unfortunately, shortly after that joyful moment, June received a video from Agent Park, showing Kevin and Grace being kidnapped. A van was used by a group of people to abduct Kevin and Grace. Agent Park believed that the kidnappers might be individuals who fell victim to Kevin's scams. June noticed something odd about the pictures her mother sent her, which were taken by Kevin. Upon further inspection, she discovered that her mother had never shown her face in the photos. She also noticed a similarity between the woman in the photos and the owner of the @bunnycake310 account. June reopened the @bunnycake310 account and noticed a playable video. As she played it, she realized that the woman in the video had a resemblance to her mother. June learned that the person who had been with Kevin in Colombia was not her mother, but Rachel Page, the woman behind the @bunnycake310 account. The news later reported that the FBI had located Rachel and discovered her true identity. Realizing that her mother had never actually gone to Colombia, the FBI began a search for her in Los Angeles, with June joining in the efforts to find her. After the news spread, the focus shifted to the taxi driver who had taken Kevin and Grace to the airport. It was discovered that the man had no travel records and had even used a fake license plate number on his car. After further investigation, it was discovered that the taxi driver was indeed Kevin's accomplice, and the car used in the kidnapping of Kevin and Grace in Colombia was also found. The group responsible for the kidnapping turned out to be a group of students who were paid by Kevin to carry out the act. In addition to this, the FBI was able to locate Rachel Page, who revealed that she was only paid to act as Grace by Kevin and believed it was an opportunity to advance her career as an actress. June was outraged by the accusations and rumors surrounding her mother's involvement in Kevin's scheme. She knew her mother was not capable of such things and was determined to clear her name. June decided to take matters into her own hands and started investigating further to prove her mother's innocence. She reached out to Heather and asked for her help in uncovering the truth about Grace's identity and involvement in the case. Together, they worked to gather evidence and present it to the authorities, ultimately leading to the exoneration of Grace's name. Determined to uncover her mother's past, June obtained a phone number from someone associated with Kevin's account. Upon calling the number, she discovered it was Heather's office number. Intrigued, June made her way to Heather's office at night and recorded everything using her smartwatch. The office was empty and quiet. June arrived at Heather's office and saw that the computer was in the middle of a deletion process, indicating that someone had just been there. Additionally, June found a photo on the table with a threatening note directed at Heather. The note stated that the writer would kill Heather if she ever spoke about something. June found this to be suspicious and began to look around the office. On the floor, she found a necklace that probably belonged to Heather, which had been scattered. June heard a faint sound of someone in pain, and upon investigation, she discovered Heather dying in the corner of the room. Shortly after, Heather passed away, and June was certain that she had been murdered. She then went back to her house and informed Agent Park about what had happened. Upon hearing the information, Agent Park became angry with June's actions of investigating Heather's office by herself, as it could have put her safety in danger. The death of Heather was evidence that she had become a victim because she knew about Grace's past. It was evident that someone was monitoring June from a distance, and it seemed like this person was the mastermind behind the incident. This person also communicated with Kevin through chat and had even hacked into all of June's conversations with her friends. In a video shared by Vina, it was revealed that the FBI had located Kevin's hideout. The footage showed Kevin attempting to flee, and as a result, the police were compelled to use lethal force and shoot him. June listened to her mother's voice message and remembered her childhood nickname, Junebug. She tried entering the nickname as her mother's account password and it worked. She quickly accessed Grace's last trip details and discovered a blocked email that said, "She has the right to know." June's curiosity intensified as she continued to search for the sender of the mysterious email. Soon enough, she stumbled upon a CCTV video that belonged to the culprit. However, before she could investigate any further, Jim, Kevin's friend, called her and claimed to know something about Grace. To June's surprise, Jim was already at her doorstep, and she felt uneasy as he was an ex-convict. But when Jim removed his head cover, June realized that he was actually James, her father whom she had thought was dead. June was taken aback by this revelation. James explained that Sarah had changed her name to Grace Allen to hide from him, and also to start a new life. He said that he had been looking for her for years but was unsuccessful until he stumbled upon her obituary. James also revealed that he had been in contact with Sarah before she died, and she had asked him to send the email to June. June felt a mix of emotions, from shock and disbelief to anger and confusion. She had grown up believing that her father had died, and now she was faced with the truth that he had been alive all along. James apologized for his past mistakes and promised to make it up to her. He also revealed that he had a terminal illness and didn't have much time left. June realized that she needed to forgive her father and make the most of the time they had left together. She asked James to tell her everything he knew about her mother, Sarah, so that she could finally understand her past and make peace with it. James agreed and started to tell her the story of their tumultuous past. After James explained that he had been in prison, June asked him if he had met Kevin there. However, James revealed that he had actually driven Kevin and Sarah to the airport as a taxi driver. As June was processing this information, she received a call from Vina, but before she could answer it, James abruptly pulled her away. The scene then cut back to the beginning of the videotape. The video revealed James' true nature as a husband to Sarah, who found a stash of drugs hidden in their attic. It was discovered that James had been involved in drug dealing. Sarah concocted a plan to incriminate James, resulting in his arrest by the police and a subsequent 10-year prison sentence. After James' arrest, Sarah took June and changed her name to Grace Allen based on the advice of their lawyer, Heather, in order to protect them. Returning to James, he was shown bringing June to a house where she was held captive. James then went to the garage in the backyard where he had imprisoned Sarah. He gave her a piece of clothing that belonged to June, and then suddenly pulled out a gun with the intention of killing her. However, Sarah managed to escape and locked James inside the garage. She immediately looked for June and finally found her. Sarah revealed to June that James was responsible for Heather's death. Just as they were about to leave, James appeared and locked the door from outside. Meanwhile, while in the room, June discovered a camera that was always recording. She tried to call Javier using her Instagram account on her smartwatch, but before she could explain the situation, her watch battery died, and the call was cut off. Suddenly, James entered the room, and he demanded to take June with him, but Sarah refused to let him do so. Despite Sarah's efforts to prevent James from taking June, James shot her in the stomach. In fear, June attempted to flee, but James caught her. However, Sarah took advantage of a moment when James was distracted, and she stabbed him in the neck. James panicked and collapsed, giving June and Sarah a chance to escape. Because of this, he immediately attempted to find the nearest hospital, but it was too late for him. He died from bleeding out. Meanwhile, June and Grace were still trapped inside the house. June kept apologizing to her mother, and then she remembered that her mother's phone was in front of James's computer. June discovered that the active camera was linked to James's computer. June stood in front of the camera and attempted to activate Siri to call the emergency number. With her quick thinking, she was able to contact the police who arrived shortly after to rescue both her and her mother. In the end, June and her mother were able to talk to each other on FaceTime, safe and sound. June and her mother managed to escape the incident and moved on with their lives. Meanwhile, Javier was finally reunited with his long-lost son after so many years. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like it, please consider subscribing, turning on notifications, and giving the video a thumbs up to support the channel. Thank you for watching.